So this room is our wardrobe room. All of our costumes are held here. Some actors have their other costumes in their dressing room. Our airbrush room, this is Devin.
So for efficiency, many of the characters, including the Satan character, we start with a white base of paint and then do all the detail work on top of that, because that white color is the most reactive to the stage lighting. And so the quickest way to put that white paint on them is to use a paint sprayer, that cup gun there, that blasts white paint, which is efficient, but also, puts it in the air. So we created this booth so that the person can stand there, we can spray them with white paint, base their color out, without creating too much mess.
This is the room where our narrator and Jesus get ready. Becca is an incredibly talented makeup artist.
So we stick this all over his body, and then a puzzle piece, and then that's kind of the base layer, and then we start putting bruises and bloods. We use like 5 different types of bloods by the end of it, and kind of build up all the layers. And then when it's time, we take that off, and I add a few more bloods, and then you see them like in the middle of being whipped. So
the Thorn is unique in that we tell the first-hand accounts of the disciples' lives with Jesus Christ. On this tour, I am the Apostle John. He's 96 years old. The audience meets him on the island of Patmos. He is in exile.
So if he's 96, I went to part of hair and makeup, and I saw them with a beard. I'm guessing you're not 96, so you probably have to go through your own hair and makeup.
I'm only 90 years old.
Close. I was almost there.
So we just have to age him up a little bit, just a touch.
It's like 5 years.
It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm 53 years old on April 1st, so I'll turn 53 on tour.
You've been playing this character since you were like 40, though.
True.
So the makeup's getting easier.
It's getting, this is the running joke in the Thorn. In 20 years, this is going to be a no-brainer.
We don't know if that joke would work well with the women, but with the guys, it works great.
Yeah, no
obviously.
problem.
Okay, so tell us about your little part with the Thorn. You're like extra in the back.
Yeah, I just kind of hang out backstage. My name is Andrew Harmon, and I'm the director of the show and this tour.
Tell us, how did you become part of the Thorn?
So I became part of the Thorn. The first year I was involved in the Thorn was in 2007, so a little bit earlier than when I sort of started directing. I was an intern for the Bolin, so just like little teenage Andrew was an intern. I was kind of helping behind the scenes, and the actor who was playing young John the Beloved, so the younger version of the narrator, did a backflip off a trampoline and broke his knees. And he needed to be replaced at the last minute, so they were like, Andrew, you're in the show now. So I had a little bit of acting chops, not a ton, but I jumped in, fell in love with the show, and then went off to college and disappeared from the Bolin's life for like 6 years. And then in 2013, I was looking for a little bit of change of pace. I was working in marketing, but had started to develop a directing background and reconnected with John and Sarah, and they were already 2 years into the tour, and I came in on the third year and sort of started assistant directing and assisting John as sort of a executive producer assistant, and then pretty soon started co-directing the tour, and for the last several years have been directing this thing all around the country.
So I was in Charleston, South Carolina at the time. That's really where I'm from is Charleston. I lived there 22 years, met my wife, and all my kiddos were born in the Low Country. And I was a creative pastor at a church called Seacoast Church. And I did their stage stuff. I don't know what creative director really meant. I just was the guy who told the jokes on stage, and I just could communicate pretty well on stage. So long story short is, Seacoast had a history of doing Easter plays. About that time, the Bolins, John and Sarah Bolin, my dear, dear friends, moved. I didn't know them at all, but they moved to Charleston, specifically Mount Pleasant, and come to Seacoast, and they pitched this idea, what if we did the Thorn, but not just here at Seacoast? Let's take it on a national tour. And I did it first year. I had never acted before, really, not really. I played Judas one year in the Easter play, and then Jesus the next year.
And then boom,
John.
Narrator.
John the Beloved.
Of the whole thing.
So literally the start, and I just went woof off on this tour, and it's like this weird gift mix. For me, it's perfect because it's part pastor, and it's part comedic timing, and it's part acting, and it's part just feeling a crowd. So it really is a conversation. It's a certain mix, and it just worked for me is what I'm saying. It clicked, and I love God, and I love to tell a story, and that's it. So I've been there ever since.
it's like your way of preaching the gospel.
For 100% sure. The gifts he's given me have manifested themselves in my business in Austin. I own a walking tour company, so I'm a storyteller there too. So you just let it go, and it's funny how he works everything out. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure with everything that you do, different productions every night, well, same production, but you know what I mean. There probably has been some times where, something happened. Like you said, that's how you got your job.
Never.
Never.
Nothing
Tell us.
ever goes wrong in live theater.
Tell us a memorable moment, both of y'all. You have a memorable moment and what you guys did to fix it. Did somebody go to the hospital? Did something
Oh, God.
Like, tell us the story.
I do. So as the director, I am often, I know most roles in the show. So I've now played every role in the show except for the female characters, because that'd be a little odd.
I mean, we could try that.
We could try, but we haven't. So the first time that I ever played Jesus on stage, I knew the role because I directed it and directed other actors through it, but I'd never actually done it in a performance. And so during the crucifixion bit, there is when the first nail goes through Jesus' feet, he generally sits up and screams. And as I was lying there on the cross, I thought, that's not how you would react in real life. I should change it, which is a terrible plan. And so if someone were to pound a nail through your feet, you would probably arch your back and pull away, not reach for the nail. So I did that. However, the Jesus makeup is incredibly wet and slippery, and so as soon as I removed all the points of contact from my back from the cross, I just fell off. So in front of an entire audience, the first nail goes to Jesus' feet, and Jesus just falls off and hits the ground. And so then all the actors who are playing the centurions have to pick me up, slam me back down on the cross, and then just held me there for fear of me falling off for the rest of the scene, which wasn't great. But you just got to roll with it.
The show must go on.
Yeah, you got to roll with it. The next nail through the feet, the actor really made sure to drive it in there to sell it to the audience. So that was probably 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, but it is burned into my memory of the time that I fell off the cross while I was playing Jesus. But now I'm almost always just the director. I don't show up on stage that much anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you did, you would do a better job of playing Jesus because you learn from your mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes.
Truth.
That's what it's all about.
I
You
mean,
gotta
eventually,
innovate.
Jesus also came off the cross. I mean, it was a whole different way, though.
Yeah.
Whole different way.
Slightly more dramatic.
And he rose again, so thank
Exactly.
you, Lord.
So one night, we were in Colorado Springs, and this was back during the days of big venue churches. So we were at a church, 5,000 people. One of the largest crowds we've ever done, and my mic was working. It was set, but the mic cord got frayed, and it was causing such a I had to stay in just one position like this. I couldn't. So I did a few lines that way, and then it went out altogether. So this is in the middle of a monologue. And so, the front of house is rushing to figure out how to fix it, and I'm just standing there, and people don't know it. So they rushed on the stage to change out my mic pack. But John the Beloved, I was playing John that year, is an old man, and he has his idiosyncrasy.
He does.
He's a little senile, but he's an apostle.
He remembers the story of Jesus.
Remember, crystal clear.
Other things, though.
So rather than letting him just change it, I started running away from him on stage, and it caused pandemonium.
No, I thought you would have been like, I gotta go on with this. Oh my gosh! I'm
No,
panicking, but
there's
freaking
none of
out.
that. No.
Jim doesn't panic.
I don't panic.
That's the thing.
So I just kind of rolled with it, and I thought, what's the funniest thing that could happen right now? And it's to run away from the sound guy. And it worked. For a few seconds. And then I let him fix it.
And then you got to change the mic back out.
So it's never a dull moment.
You know what? And I'm pretty sure audiences love that because it's almost like break character for a bit, and then it gets them riled up. And then
It does. Okay, so can I say 1 second?
Oh, please.
Unique thing about the Thorn is there's no third wall, fourth wall, all that stuff. We break it right through it all the time. So it's an ongoing conversation with the audience. You get used to it, and it's weird, but when people come with you, it almost makes the show different and unique and refreshing in a really cool way.
Yeah.
So John is talking about relevant things and using relevant jokes, but he's also an apostle, and he talks about it. We're all over the map, and it really does bring a certain flair. Andrew's great with rolling with that, and it's just been fun. It's just, you feel like you're becoming part of like you've been invited to a club almost when you come to a Thorn show. That's what it feels like.
For sure.
You guys, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I love the stories you're telling me, and I know our audience is loving the stories. And you guys are definitely still going to be on tour. You have several more dates, and we will put that in the description box below.
Come see the show.
Yes.
We would love to see you. We pray for all the cities before we show up. You are in this with us. Our heart is the cross, 100%. I know, speak for Andrew, speak for myself. God saved me, and we want to bring his freedom to as many people as possible who don't even know they're coming to the show yet. So pray for us, and it's been a pleasure spending time with you.
Thank you.